Hi, my name is Kalisha. Hester is my legal name because I thought I was married for 14 years. As I give you my story, you'll see that I have a legal name that I shouldn't have because my 14-year marriage was fake. My husband is a bigamist who is married to at least one other person who is still alive that I know of. So I am 37 years old right now, 3 sons. I met my husband Rob Hester when I was 18, literally like a week before I graduated high school. We ended up pregnant basically right after I started college. He was not there at all. When I told him I was pregnant, he called me every name under the sun, told me that it wasn't his baby. He slept with all the girls that I called friends, and literally did not come to a single doctor's appointment. He found out the gender of our child via text message by me, because I figured, like, hey, you should probably know you're having a son. I just kind of decided, look, I'm gonna do this by myself. Like, I was terrified. I'm 18. I just started college. I had an academic full ride to college at Hampton University. Gave birth to my son. He wants to be a family. I mean, he's horrible, but he's 22. I'm 19. I figure he's just an immature 22-year-old. I was in school full-time, but because he had no money and I had a baby to take care of, I got into independent contractor work where I could make my own schedule, and I handed out samples basically, like, at events, at concerts, at bars, restaurants, stores, you name it. I worked with all these different brands, and I made, good money for a college kid. So I did that, school full time, raised a baby. He worked all the time and wanted to party and all those things. So I was very much doing it on my own, but it was what it was. At least I could say I was in a relationship. So I ended up having another baby. So my oldest 2 sons are exactly 2 years apart to the day. Both of them were born May 28th. So summer of freshman year, I had my first son, and summer after junior year, 9 days after I turned 21, I had my second son. Which, like, girl, how did you not, like, how? You would think that I learned my lesson, like, you can get pregnant the first time, but I didn't. And so I was a mom of 2 at 21, but guess what that meant? Oh, I'm definitely staying with him, because if people talk to me crazy when I was a mom of 1 at 19, what are people gonna say when I'm a mom of 2 at 21 and I'm by myself? So made the decision to stay, worked really, really, really hard, because now I don't just have 1 mouth to feed, I have 2. So that's when I said I graduated from college early. I literally maxed out credit hours and ended up graduating with my Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism in 3.5 years from Hampton University. I had a full academic scholarship, and I graduated with a 3.75 GPA while being pregnant twice, giving birth twice, never taking any time off, just powering through. I also worked the independent contractor job that I told you about, but I also had internships because I knew I needed to line something up, after I got out of college. I bought my first house. I want to say 25. maybe 26 when I bought my first house. He ended up just being a stay-at-home dad to our boys. I ended up doing really well in the car business, and then I get pregnant again. And I have a son again. And I'm on maternity leave, and my manager calls me. I'm literally 2 weeks into maternity leave. And my manager calls me and he's like, hey, please don't tell anybody because I probably could get fired for like doing this. But we had this open job. Your district would cover the largest Chevy dealership in the country. You didn't apply for it. I had other people apply, but I know you, and I know that you're the person for this job. So would you be interested in interviewing? And if you got the job, would you be okay with moving from Erie, Pennsylvania to Rochester, New York when you come back from maternity leave? I'm like, that's wild. But I'm so flattered that he thought that highly of me. And career-wise, again, Rob's not working, or he's working, I think, at a candle factory down the street, kind of part-time thing. Again, it's kind of all on me. Career-wise, being able to say you work at the largest dealership in the country, okay. So I literally did my Zoom interview holding like a 2-3 week old baby during my interview, and I got the job. So 6 weeks after I had my son, I came back from maternity leave and I moved from Erie, Pennsylvania to Rochester, New York. I'm 28 or something like that, and I'm getting a brand new house built. And job goes well, learned so much, so incredibly thankful for the people that I met in Rochester, New York. My relationship with Rob is not good still. He doesn't really contribute anything. He's still a stay-at-home dad. We have a new baby, so if finances were an issue before with him getting a job, then it definitely is now, because that's even more of a daycare bill. And it's just not good. He had been arrested for DV. He had hit me. He had essayed me. And it was so bad that he told me he was going to take my life that night that he essayed me in Rochester. It was less than a year after I had our son. He destroyed my home office, threw everything, punched holes in the wall while I'm holding my baby, made me go upstairs, told me, you're gonna not live past tonight. Essayed me while I'm crying and screaming, called his mom, I think the next morning, like he passed out basically. Called his mom the next morning, crying, screaming. She doesn't answer, so I leave a voicemail, like crying, screaming, praying that somebody can like talk to this man. And then I ended up driving from Rochester, New York to my parents' house in Northern Virginia because I can't be there. I thought my life was going to end the night before. And I filed for divorce. This is the second time that I filed for divorce. I filed for divorce in Indiana. We almost did get divorced, but we didn't get one of the forms signed, and then somehow decided like, oh, let's not get divorced. Maybe this is a sign. And he had also been arrested for DV when we lived in Virginia. So before I ever even took that job in Chicago, he'd been arrested for punching me in my face. He had been arrested in Erie, PA. I don't remember what happened then, but it was DV he was arrested for. He was arrested in Rochester, New York for DV, not for the essay, but there was another instance of DV. And here's the thing, every time he would get arrested for DV, I felt relief, but then I would feel dread because if he goes to prison, then what do I do? I have 3 kids. I have no support system. I work all the time. I'm getting these promotions because I live to work, basically. What do I do? So, plus he would sweet talk me and all that, and I ended up never going to court to testify. So he never did like real prison time for TV. He would get arrested and, you know, spend a few days in jail and be able to get out. But he never went to prison or did any real time for what he was doing to me. And I kept the secret. Somebody at work did see, at one of my dealerships, did see like the police blotter that he had been arrested for DV. So people were kind of like, oh, what's going on at your house? But I downplayed it, you know, like so many abuse victims. I had so much shame and I didn't want people to know. And it's like, I'm this, you know, young black woman in the car business. There's not a lot of us, so I already stick out. And then I was like, oh gosh, and you're getting abused. Like, this is a lot. It's hard to be taken seriously as is. So I just kept my mouth shut about it. I filed for divorce, got a divorce lawyer. New York was told New York is a pretty black and white state. Rob had told me that if we got divorced, since he didn't have a job, he was the primary parent, and he was going to fight me for custody of my kids. He was going to get alimony. He was going to get child support. He was going to get every single dollar from me that he possibly could. And so I hired this divorce lawyer thinking like, okay, at least I have somebody who can help me. Wrong, because my divorce lawyer is like, hey, New York is very black and white, so what's going to happen is you're going to pay him. He did, you know, the calculations based on my income. Was like, you're going to pay him $5,000 a month, and he's going to get your kids. It is what it is. Like, he's the primary parent. So I ended up not divorcing him, and my lawyer's suggestion was literally, since I moved all the time anyway, he's like, literally file for divorce in another state, because New York is the worst. So after 2 years, we moved to Texas, Dallas. And this was my dream. I wanted to go to college in Texas. I only applied 2 colleges in Texas. First weird story number 1, when my family is involved, is that I never even applied to Hampton University in Virginia. My mom applied to Hampton University in Virginia behind my back and hid all of my acceptance letters from every school I applied to in Texas. And when I got into HU and I got the full ride, she's like, this is where you're going. And I was like, I don't want to go. She tried to physically attack me. So I always wanted to go to Texas. And I got this amazing job in our Dallas office. I wasn't working with dealerships anymore. I was managing 9 states sponsorships and event activations. So think, you know, Houston Rodeo, State Fair of Texas, Houston Astros, NASCAR, all the events and festivals and fairs that are happening. If you see a Chevy display with like handing out, you know, whatever goodies and cars parked and us showing you the cars, that was me. And it was amazing and I absolutely loved it. And I'm 30, managing a multi-million-dollar sponsorship portfolio. Go buy my dream house in Dallas. I love Dallas. I, you know, get this big, beautiful house with a game room and a movie theater and a pool and loving it. But I'm still married to Rob. His marriage was horrible. I did not want to be there, but I tried to leave in New York. Didn't work. So I knew that in Dallas, okay, I can finally get a divorce. I just gotta get settled in. It's different this time because I'm not working from home, like home based, and I was making my schedule when I went to my dealerships. I had to go to my dealerships at least once a month, but I got to figure out, like, I got to decide when I went. In Dallas, I worked in an office, and it was like 12-hour days every day. So this is like, if having 3 kids and doing it on my own was an issue before, doing it in Dallas is like almost impossible, it feels like, but I'm gonna figure it out. So the DV incident I remember in Dallas is unpacking the house, just moved in, boxes everywhere. And I don't remember why he got so angry. It was something very small. It was always something very small. But he ended up punching me in the face and calling me a fat B word. And I cried, called the police. He got arrested. I'm just so overwhelmed, so just out of it. I can't remember if he punched me in the face or like open hand slapped me in the face. So I tell the police, like, might have been a slap, might have been a punch. Like, it was all just so much, so scary, so out of nowhere. And the police officer acts like I'm the problem, like I'm making it up. Like, how do you not remember? I'm like, because it was like shocking. And I'm literally like in the middle of unpacking and working all the time. I work all the time. I'm so stressed out and overwhelmed. And then he did this. He literally called me from jail the next day saying, I don't remember what I did. What did I do? And silly me didn't go to court yet again. He got out of jail that day and wanted to divorce while we were in Dallas. And he told me, like, hey, you know how I said that if we got a divorce, I was going to take all your money and take the kids? Listen, I want to go to school for IT. There's this certification program. If you pay for it, then when we get divorced, I'm not going to take you for all your money. So I don't really want to, but I feel kind of forced. And my bonus that year, I got a yearly bonus. My entire annual bonus, it was a big bonus, went to paying for his school because I made too much money for him just to get a loan. I had to pay like half of his school cash. So I paid for his program. And we still weren't really together. We were still living separate, sleeping in separate rooms, all that stuff. But I'm like, oh, okay, like maybe this will be better because he is trying to do something. He's doing well in school. I know that a lot of our issue is that I'm the breadwinner, I'm the sole provider. People make fun of him for it all the time. I know that men get all sensitive about that. I want the help financially. I don't want to be doing this on my own anymore. So when he graduates from school, it's like an 8 or 9 month program. We end up like getting back together. He graduated valedictorian of his program. He got a job, making, you know, fairly decent money. And so I'm like, okay, maybe this can actually work. He ends up getting another job. He gets fired from that job during the pandemic, like when it first started. And I'm working from home now because it's the pandemic, everything's shut down. And I'm like, okay, this was a COVID thing. A lot of companies are letting people go because of COVID, whatever. That's what he tells me, right? So, meanwhile, his sister had moved in with her 3 kids from Virginia. They are paying not $1. Rob just got fired. Oh, and by the way, because it's COVID, Chevy was like, we can't afford to pay you all your money. So everybody had to take a 20% like pay cut during COVID. And they're like, we'll pay you back, we promise. But for right now, 20% of your pay is gone overnight. So I'm like, what? I now have to support a family of 5 plus his sister plus her 3 kids, and they don't give me $1. I have to feed them, house them, everything them. Rob's not working. This is crazy. But I still stayed. And then a job back being a district manager, but in the DC area, the DC market opens up. And the thing about it is, I have not lived near my family for 12 years at this point. Or 10 years. 10 years at this point. I would love to live near my family. And my parents are in Northern Virginia. My sister's in Northern Virginia. I think both are at this time. So I'm like, I will actually have help. we'll have family. And we're from Newport News, Virginia, which is 2 hours away. So we'll have his family, so this is the best thing, right? And it's COVID. My dad had actually recently beat cancer. So with COVID, everything was crazy. Nobody knows like what's going on. It's really scary, but we know that like cancer survivors are like super high risk. So I'm like, my dad might not even make it through all of this. And there's a chance for me to move back to where he is. This is God telling me I gotta go. Rob's being mean, of course. He can't find a job. We're living with my parents. He's yelling at me every day because he's mad we live with my parents. And I'm like, you're not helping us do anything, but okay. Finally, get a house in Waldorf, Maryland. Beautiful house. Fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love with it. Rob screamed at me that he didn't want to live in Maryland. Couldn't tell me why, but he didn't want to live in Maryland, so I got yelled at for that one. He was not on the mortgage. So one thing I didn't add is that Rob was never on any of my mortgages. So I was buying these houses by myself without him because he didn't have a job. He didn't have money to buy a house. Waldorf, Maryland is no different. So in some states, and Maryland is one of them, if you are married, then even if that person is not on the mortgage, they must be on the deed. So they must be a property owner. So when I close on the house, even though Rob's not on the mortgage, even though Rob doesn't contribute a single penny towards my down payment or anything else, he gets to be on the deed and he is listed as an owner of the house. So, yay. Our marriage still isn't great. I mean, it is what it is. It was never really good. I was in that job for, I want to say, 2.5 years, and I got asked to, I was like a top performer in the region, so I got told one day, like, hey, they want to do this thing called a 10-minute drill with you, and that's, you do a 10-minute presentation all about yourself, personal life or professional life, in front of very, very, very important people at Chevrolet. So I'm talking VPs, I'm talking CMO, all the like important people, because if you impress them, it will change your career. It went really, really well, and the VP of Chevy is like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Like a month later, the director of advertising and marketing at Chevy calls me and is like, hey, the person who does marketing and advertising for this car, the Chevy Bolt, is moving jobs, and we just want to give you the job. Like, you don't have to interview. We'll just direct appoint you. Like, at a certain level, you can just say, I want to give this person a job, and they don't have to interview. And the people that wanted to give me the job were high enough that they could just say, no, she's getting a job. So I got direct appointed to be a marketing advertising manager for Chevrolet Bolt in headquarters. But this meant that I had to move from Maryland to Detroit. And I was about a week or two out from closing on a house in Detroit when Chevy announced that they were going to be doing layoffs. But before they started layoffs, you could take a buyout and basically get paid like a year's salary if you decided to leave voluntarily. So I thought about it. Rob was being super mean. He was screaming at me all the time about how much he hated Detroit, how I was a selfish B word for moving everybody to Detroit. He hated me, blah, blah, blah. I was crying all the time. I didn't want to make my kid uproot himself during senior year. Again, COVID really kind of changed my perspective of your whole life can't revolve around work. You have to consider your family. Rob hates me for moving everybody to Detroit. He tells me daily, he makes me cry. So let me just leave. But then I was really sad when I actually did leave, because I've been at Chevy for 10 years. I had done so well, and there's so much unknown. So I remember, like, I didn't want to go in my office. When I got back to Maryland, my home office was also my makeup room. So like sitting in there made me sad, and I didn't know what to do during the day. And I remember I went into Rob's office. He had actually had a job at this time, and he had only gotten a job because somebody I knew, because he couldn't find a job for a year. And somebody I knew somebody, and they ended up hiring him for a really good job, actually, where he worked remote doing IT. And I remember sitting in Rob's office, like just crying and like, I don't even want to go to my own office. I don't know what to do with myself. And he's like, you were so annoying. Like, you just need to be quiet. You made the decision. Like, stop trying to make me feel bad for you. You made the decision. You need to like deal with it. And I'm just like, this is not what I want. And this is like a month into after I had left Chevy. I was like, I just need to suck it up. I started applying for jobs. I applied for a couple that seemed cool, but then I'm like, I just need to go back into the car business. The car business is what I know. I have a love-hate relationship with the car business because I'm not necessarily like a car girl, but it's what I know. It's what I've excelled in. So it's my lane. I ended up finding a job for Nissan, back being a district manager, and I'm like, they call it a dealer operations manager, and thought of working with dealerships again. I was like, ooh. But here's the thing, it's in my hometown. It's the Hampton Roads, Virginia area, and I'm like, that is so cool. The thought of moving back home is awesome, and it's like, I made it. When I left here, I had nothing. I had my stuff in trash bags, and I was sleeping on couches. And now I get to move back, and I've made it, and I'm successful, and I own houses, and all this cool stuff, and people are going to be so proud of me. There's a reason why Jesus himself said that no prophet is ever respected in their hometown. You cannot go back home after you made it. That was my fatal flaw, thinking that people would be happy for me. And that is really when things truly started to unravel. My son is still in his senior year. He's like, I'm like, okay, you don't have to move all the way to Detroit, but we've got to move to Virginia, which is only 2 hours away. He's like, no, I don't want to move. I'm like, yeah, fair. So then, like, after going round and round, townhouse built, 3-bedroom townhouse in Richmond, stayed in apartments until it was ready. But here's the thing, because I already owned this house, I was already on the mortgage for this other house. Like, if I would have got a second house, my down payment would have been way higher because it's treated differently when you own a second home versus your primary residence. And me and Rob are like separated. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get divorced, and I'm thinking long term, he can't take the house in Maryland if I get him a house. If I put a house in his name, not only do I not have to pay this higher down payment, but he has a house, he can move out when we get divorced, whatever. And if we don't get divorced, then great, we have an investment property, and that's what I wanted. So the house in Richmond, I put 100% of the down payment on, and Rob couldn't qualify to buy the house, so I paid off his debt, helped him with his credit, and I put the house solely in his name. I wasn't on the deed, nothing. We told him, like, we're separated, we're not going to be together. We're married right now, but this is his house. Even though I was living there for work. But they didn't know that. So he got the house, I moved in, and I'm like, hold on, I love it here. I'll have an angry man yelling at me every day. I'm happy. I have peace. I don't want to go back home. So I wanted to give you that background and see, like, I'm not this crazy person. I'm not destitute. I'm a go-getter. I'm resourceful. I always figure it out. And the story that I'm going to tell is crazy. And that's what I wanted to tell you, kind of my backstory.